everybody. Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk ASPM. Let's Talk Application Security Posture Management. This is Lingaraj Patil here. And I have the pleasure of hosting Pardhiv Reddy, Director of Application Security at S&P Global. He has about 7 years of experience there, starting out as a lead applications security engineer, and then moving on to manager and now a director of application security. Before that, he worked at Oracle and then Philips and then Fidelity. So he has experience working for a lot of these conglomerates, and he has that experience of scaling an application security program. And that's exactly what we are going to talk about today. Pardhiv, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Raj, for hosting me on this podcast.
All right, I'm sorry. So I'm very excited to have you on the episode today because we had a chat few times, and you seem to be a master at scaling application security programs. You have worked has at many of the big corporations that I talked about. And what interested me is your background. When you started out as a mechanical engineer, right? And here you are now
Right.
securing some of the biggest global corporations. So tell me what the journey was like.
Yeah, so even I initially never expected that, okay, my path will be crossed into the IT field because initially I was into the mechanical engineering background. And then I always had a passion towards hacking. I would not say cybersecurity, I would say hacking. I was like more in terms of, I used to read about the Wi-Fi hacking or the general hacking terminology. And that's when I got more interested. And I started as more of a strict kiddie, right? Wherein I just got used to the different tools which are available online. I started using them, tinkering around them, and then I get like some more details. And that fascinated me to get more into this the cybersecurity domain, understand more on the concepts, the fundamentals, and that paved me the way to get into this complete field itself. So I started my career with then security, understanding about how the servers are built, how the applications are built, and how the networks are actually interacting with each other, all the applications, and then slowly started my way around the application. And then I started into the web applications, mobile APIs. I also got my hands into the IoT as well, explored even more into the wireless technologies, the Bluetooth, Zigbee, and a couple of technologies, right? So I've done a lot of research-based activities. And then this actually provided me a lot of information in terms of understanding, okay, security doesn't just stop at one part, right? Like it's all interconnected. So whether you take any kind of technology, like web or API, mobile, even you take car as well, right? Like now pretty much everything is, we call it a smart device or a smart connected device. So I think that's where the security is evolving, right, on a day-to-day basis. And on top of that, when I started my career, I've seen security more in terms of an reactive kind of an approach, where when there is some kind of incident or some kind of attack happens, that's when the security people get involved. And even there's so much emphasis from the organizations as well. But now with the stringent regulations and also a lot of fines as well, right? Because you're seeing that of it, like if any organization getting breached, I think they're also subjected to a lot of fines. So there is a proactive approach with the mindset as well with the leadership, right, or the organizations. So now I've seen from the reactive to the proactive shift, and it brings the AppSec or even the security teams into a good spotlight and help them with the right set of initiatives which they wanted to secure the entire organizations.
Right. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for such a great summary of your experience here. Now I can see how all your past experience has primed you to shine in your current role, where you're bringing together application security, cloud security, infrastructure security, and giving an overall view to it, right? Because as we said, in security, everything is interconnected. There's no point in securing just the application when the infrastructure on which it runs is not secure, or the cloud on which it runs is not secure, right? So it's great that you are bringing all of that together. And you're so right about doing things proactively, right? A stitch in time saves the nine, they say. So awesome. Thank you for that background. So let's talk about the application security of the product security, the rise of that. So what's your opinion on where we are right now and where it is heading, especially with the AI coming in, right? So much of an impact on your applications.
So in terms of the rise of the AppSec, right, I would say like the initial, maybe a decade before, it started with having the individual application scans or the security evaluations. And then we started with the DevOps, and then the DevOps actually shifted into DevSecOps. I think
Yeah.
DevSecOps is one of the major game changers, right? Because everyone used to lip sync in terms of saying that we need to have security on the SDLC. But
Yeah.
now the moment the DevSecOps has actually initiated, or like the DevSecOps phase came, right? I think that's when the organization started getting more traction into like implementing the DevSecOps program, having the security into each and every cycle.
Mm.
So that actually improved, or I would definitely call it like a game changing moment for the thing.
Mm. Mm.
And the second thing is you're also asking in terms of the AI space, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the AI security, how it's helping AppSec, and say like, okay, it's not just helping AppSec, the broader community, like just not only the technology space, right? All the different communities outside as well. But for AppSec, it's definitely a lot of enabler, right? I would definitely call AI as enabler because we have a lot of use cases wherein
Mm.
the first thing what I can say is the developer to the InfoSec engineer ratio.
Mm.
InfoSec as a community is in a lot of depth, I would say. Like we don't have the right set of scaling across the
Yeah.
organization or across the industry. And you go to any organization, we will always come with the same question saying that, okay, you're always at like 1:50 or 1:100 or much more higher, right? In terms of the
Yeah.
developers to the InfoSec engineer ratio. So which means that
Mm.
an InfoSec engineer won't be able to scale up in order to meet all the developer requirements. And now
Yeah.
with the DevSecOps, which I mentioned before, these is going much faster. We have seen a lot of
Mm.
organizations going or adapting the nightly builds and
Yeah.
just doing the deployments or doing a lot of hot fixes. So with this evolving rate of the deployments or the releases, right, I think we also need to scale up. And that's where AI definitely plays a lot of good part. So I can take a simple use case of a code review. By
Mm.
default, maybe people can do a code review maybe in a couple of days. Now with
Mm.
AI, people can definitely rely on it, maybe to use some good rankings in terms of the code, like what are the vulnerabilities, and use that
Mm.
information, right? Instead of spending like 8 hours a day, they can spend like maybe 1 hour. So that reduces the overall time. Similarly, from an attacker perspective, instead of they might have a limited set of knowledge, right? Because when we say any security assessment, they say like it's always point in time. It depends on the mindset or the knowledge of the hacker. But
Yeah.
now AI provides you like the vast set of knowledge, right? So it's just not limited to only my set of knowledge, which I've gained over the last couple of years. And if I just miss on something, I can directly ask the AI, okay, hey, I have this scenario right now. I have this kind of application. Can you help me with what kind of scenario do I need to think of? Or like, is it against some kind of regulatory standard, or like, do you need to check any specific controls? So I think it provides a lot of valuable insights to the hacker, right? Or even to the InfoSec engineer to help them do these things. And with the
Mm.
recent shift of the Agentic AI, wherein
Mm.
initially we spoke about the ChatGPT revolution, right? Maybe a year and a half before. But
Right.
now with the Agentic AI, people started focusing more on how can I leverage AI in the next level? Like, okay, I want to contextualize my things, or I wanted to, I have my regular flow, which I'm doing. How can AI help me to understand my flow, take decisions on my behalf? So I think Agentic AI is something which came in the last 3 to 6 months. And I think I've seen a lot of AppSec, ASPM, a lot of tools and vendors, right, who are actually moving into the space. And they're providing a lot of valuable insights, which are really helpful right from the engineer level to the executive level as well.
Right. Right. Okay, fantastic. That's a great overview of where we are. And let's see how they apply specifically to agent. You are talking about agentic AI to the application security, right? So the next question I have for you is application security posture management, right? So that's a
Right.
new technology that's really growing really, really fast. And you were one of the early adopters of it at S&P Global. When it started, you have a lot of experience under your belt. So tell me how that has changed your security uh, game plan.
Yeah. So before the ASPM, right, I definitely wish it would have come much earlier, right, the ASPM itself.
Right,
So the
right.
challenge is before the ASPM came, things are still running. Like in terms of the security, we have different vendors coming up. We have the different solutions for security. It might be separate for apps, it might be separate for cloud. Everything is running on its own individual silos. But
Yeah,
now what ASPM has brought together is it brought into a single piece, right? When we say application, right? Because from a customer perspective, all they look is application. A
yeah,
customer never interacts with an IP address, a customer never interacts with the backend server. So all they look
right,
is application. But when you
right.
see the overall risk of the application, right? previously people used to think that, okay, if I just show my abstract findings, I'm good. That's the overall risk of my application. But now what ASPM has done is it has actually correlated the entire findings or the entire space, right, within these different components, brought it into a single location and brings valuable insights. And also with the point of like the risk-based vulnerability management, because now the ASPM tools is just not only taking the raw vulnerabilities and just throwing it here, rather than giving more contextualization. Because a scanner might say that, okay, I see this is a high finding, but a scanner never knows that is this application behind a VASP, or it has some controls in place, or is it internet exposed or internal exposed, or this application maybe hosted in European region or to the GDPR, or is it a PCA based application or the healthcare based applications? So a lot of context is missing with individual scanners. I think that's where ASPM plays a pivotal role, wherein it adds a lot of context, right? And that with the kind of integrations that what we have, so it's like just a plug and play, I would say, wherein we don't even need to start running or start building our own individual dashboards. Now it's like, okay, I have a tool or even procuring a new tool, I just connect it to the ASPM and then I just set my requirements. Say that, okay, my application has these controls or these are my estimates within the organization. Maybe from a leadership perspective, they wanted to understand, okay, how is my app team progressing? Because they can on the releases, but they also wanted to understand like, okay, I have like 100 developers. How are they helping us in terms of remediation, right? So I think the kind of metrics that what we get from ASPM tool is really valuable. And from executives, I think, because even for us, right, to get the right set of budgets, I think we need to go to the executives in to present saying that, hey, this is the kind of finance what we have. And this is the progress what have been made. So now instead of chasing multiple people or multiple teams or multiple spreadsheets, I think ASPM clubs everything into a single component, single interface, and then add sort of value add into them and even for us.
Right. Yeah, it makes it easier for you. I mean, like you covered quite a bit there. You talked about how going from an individual scanner, which uses some kind of context into vulnerabilities, but lacks a lot of business context into it, or its exploitability context. Right now, it actually converts those findings, brings it together in one platform, and adds that business context, which is relevant to you. This application is not behind the firewall, facing the internet. It has customer data on it, and maybe you even have data about whether this particular vulnerability has been exploited or not, right? Then it needs to be higher priority. Versus if it is behind the firewall, doesn't have any customer data on it, even it has a serious S10, you don't prioritize.
And also, it also takes a lot of difference in terms of prioritization, right? Because now, if I just throw to executive saying that, okay, I have 100 applications and this is the kind of vulnerability what I have, the first question I'm going to get asked is, okay, through the prioritization, or even for the developer, I say that you have like 1,000 vulnerabilities, go and fix it. Instead of just throwing the vulnerabilities or something on their end, now what happens is I have context around it. Now I can say that, okay, yes, you have 1,000 vulnerabilities, but what you want to fix first? If you fix these 5 vulnerabilities, the entire landscape or the entire posture of your security might increase from a low value. So I think that definitely had good value added from a ASPM perspective.
Exactly. Awesome. So do you work closely with the application managers and product owners to show them how's ASPM helping with that?
Yeah. So currently we have been primarily partnering with the executives and the application owners, right? Because that's the first set of target audience, what we're currently looking for from ASPM perspective, wherein we're trying to bring them valuable insights on how exactly their applications are faring in terms of security or the overall risk. So we are trying to show them that, okay, you focus on this specific aspect right now, and whether is it complying with the organization standards or whether it's complying with the regulatory standards. Because the ASPM tools are not just only about getting the risk or just about getting the vulnerability. They also have a lot of inherent terminology or the inherent depth into the standards as well. So if you wanted to quickly compare, okay, how is my application pairing with the OS top 10s? So I don't even need to do a custom job or testing calculations, right? Everything is inbuilt within the platform, just a click of the button, right? I select it, I get the data, and that's what maybe the app owners wanted to show the regulators as well. So that's actually helping them. And now the next phase of our plan is to also enable it to the development teams where they understand, okay, the correlation is one of the great features within the SPM tools, because a lot of times what happens, if I have like 20 or 30 kind of different kind of components, right? If I fix a specific component, that might reduce maybe 100 critical issues. So for them, it actually gives more insights. Okay, what need to be focused on then?
Right.
And the integration with the ticketing platform is also really good.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So I remember you are such pioneers in application security posture management. ArmorCode came out of stealth in May on May 13th. I remember the date, May 13th of 2021. And we had a demo request from Mithun in July, within 2 months of company launching, right? So one of the first customers to come inbound, we didn't even reach out to you. You came inbound because you saw the need for a platform like this, and you have implemented it, and you have scaled the platform now, and you have helped evolve our platform to what it is right now. Earlier, we started off with only application security. By working closely with you, now we have an ASPM platform that does not only AppSec, but also the cloud security and the infrastructure security, and brings it all together. And you just showed how that is helping you. So in terms of the independent governance, right, I'm talking specifically about there are different kinds of ASPM solutions now. Well, there are ASPM solutions with their own scanners, or the scanner vendors are adding an ASPM to it. So what's your view on a platform like that, and your decision to go with ArmorCode, which doesn't have any scanners associated with it?
So I would definitely prefer something which is completely independent, right? The reason is, if I'm trying to go with a vendor who is like, maybe they're providing a cloud security service or an AppSec service, at the same time they also say that, okay, we have an ASPM. The challenge here is, first thing is the bias, right? Maybe an organization might have its own set of rules or how they actually hear about the vulnerabilities and multiple things. But the moment we actually go about a vendor-based ASPM, they might prioritize saying, okay, this is how we are looking at the vulnerability. It's like we rate it as a high or critical.
Right.
So, but when it comes to the independent layer, I think we have the complete flexibility around it. The second thing is the prioritization. Because let's say that if I have a tool A who is actually rolling out the ASPM, right, and we actually procure it, and now I have like tool B, C, and A, multiple tools, right? Now, how does the prioritization work there? Because obviously, if the ASPM is part of the native vendor, then they first try to prioritize all the features or all the integrations within their own tool. And then the other tools will get backlogged, right? But again, the moment we start shifting into independent kind of independent ASPM, right? I think the organizations or the customers, they have their say. They can say that, okay, this is my organization preference right now. Or this is what I wanted to prioritize. And that's when independent vendors can actually help us out. And that's where ArmorCode is doing a fantastic job. Like we have had a lot of feature requests, we had a lot of feature requests which have been released as well, which have helped.
Yeah.
So I think the point you mentioned is we are one of the starting customers. We have seen the platform grown from a stage which is initially only application centered application focused.
Yeah.
And now the platform evolved into a huge platform, right? Where you ask me for integration with any kind of tool, cloud, infra, risk, or even with the AI features coming up. I think a lot of improvements are made. So yeah, so that's one of the primary reasons, like why you wanted to go with an independent layer and not stick with one specific ASPM.
Right. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. And you have been pioneers in ServiceNow too. Like we recently launched our ServiceNow integration, and you have been at the forefront for championing for that.
Exactly, because I think the organizations, right? Because at the end of the day, every organization has its own book of record, because that's what they wanted to compare against, right? I think with the service now, like majority of the Fortune 500 use the service now, and with this integration, it really helps us out. Because now, from a leadership or anyone, right, all they ask is, okay, show me the percentage of coverage, or show me the estate, like how much of an estate is covered, right? The service now integration is really pivotal for us. It's direct click integration, right? I just need to set up the right set of credentials or access, and then boom, it just directly integrates with my tools. And then they say, okay, your tools have this integration, this is what is covered, this is what is pending. So that really helped us out.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. So now you are at the forefront trying out the Anya to our Agentic AI on anything new. I mean, like you're already there testing it out with us. So how do you see that changing the game with ESPM for you?
I'm glad that you're also one of the beta customers, right? And it's definitely a feature which is required for Mark and others for the AI feature. So we had a couple of sessions in terms of we explored on the Anya or lower environment. And I see differences the game changer in terms of people, right? When they wanted to get some data, some insights, I think the widgets or the dashboards or the UI, right? It might not be the full context at all points of time. But with Anya pitching in right now in terms of the agentic AI, I think it's just a basic question, right? Like how I'm just talking to you right now. It's as simple as that. I can just ask
Right.
like, hey, that can you just show me the top 10 applications or the top
Correct.
10 vulnerabilities? It's as simple.
Yeah.
It's more about people generally focus about the UI UX. It's
Yeah.
about now it's like the person-based experience, right? It's not just the basic
Exactly.
experience, it's like the individual person, how they interact. So
Totally
I
get
think
changing.
that's uh, Anya helping us. We had some basic queries which you just ask Anya. It's helping us out really good insights and a
Yeah.
lot of graphs as well, right? Because I don't even need to get the data, create custom graphs, custom uh, correlations around it. So it's
Yeah.
just ask the question, get the answer.
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a game changer. So much so that the platform could be used not just by application security team, but it could even be used by business leaders, application managers. They can just go and ask, can you tell me what are the applications, how's the application risk trending for my platform for last 3 months, for last 6 months? How does it compare with the other top three platforms and things like that without having to train themselves on how to use the actual platform itself, right?
Because
Yeah.
training the end users for the platform is always a challenge because even though it's very simple, but still at some point of time with a lot of functionalities and flows, right? I think the agentic AI, the human-based interaction or the NLP, right? Is a thing to just ask a training history and get the information what they need.
Right, right. Awesome. Very good. So we covered a lot, Pardhiv, here, starting from your mechanical engineering background to hacking to becoming an application security engineer to becoming a pioneer in application security space and now in agentic AI usage itself, right? So that shows a breadth of the experience that you had. Let me ask you something more personal now. What makes Pardhiv Pardhiv? What is a hobby that you have that really lights you up? Is there some part of your life that really energizes?
Yeah, so I like to explore things. Uh, I just like to travel around and like to explore things. So from a technology perspective, I see something new. It always fascinates me to understand like how exactly it's working, right? So that's one thing which always energizes me. So if I'm doing the same old routine work, then definitely that's not an enabler for me. But the moment I see some new technology or something new happening around, so I'm more into towards understanding it, how things work and how I can apply it in my day-to-day life, whether it's in my personal space or in my professional space.
Right.
So that's something which I always look at and that keeps me motivating.
Yeah, awesome. I can totally validate that particular interest because you've been at the forefront of adopting ArmorCode just 2 months out of our stealth. You were there, you wanted to try it out, and even within the platform, you pushed us to build it over a period of time. You've been a true partner with us. So, Parthiv, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We will come back again after some time when you have had your hand on the agentic AI over Anya and see what kind of new innovations that you'll bring to the market. But appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Raj.